Hello everyone, my name is Troy and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking all about A Game of Thrones by George R. Martin. I have spent 3 long months of my life reading this book, so I just figured I would have to make a video talking about it with you guys, reviewing it, telling you guys all about it, and diving deep down into stuff like the plot, the writing, the characters, the world building, all of that we're going to talk about in this video and my thoughts on the matter. But before we get into the video, how are you guys doing? Please let me know in the comments. I'm doing pretty well, a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm so excited for the holidays because there are a lot of breaks coming up from school and I live for that. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing really well. You know, we have to do a good hug, so come here. Feel the hug me back, thank you, and I guess we'll just start off with this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel down below. Alright, so start off with a little synopsis of like the first 75 pages that I wrote. In the prologue, creepy figures known as the Others kill a group of scouters or rangers scouting out the northern lands. Then we are set with the Stark family, who find themselves in the middle of a political conspiracy in the beginning of the book. King Robert of the Seven Kingdoms visits the castle of Winterfell and asks Ned Stark to become his hand, as Jon Arryn, his previous hand, mysteriously died. Catelyn Stark, his wife, finds a message stating that the murder was at the hands of the Lannisters, the line Robert married into. Ned, knowing the danger, becomes the king's hand to protect him from the Lannisters. A mysterious murder attempt occurs as the family leaves for King's Landing, where the king resides. While this is going on, Viserys and Dany, the children of the previous ruler that was killed and taken over by King Robert, are establishing themselves with the Dothraki people in order to reclaim their power over the Seven Kingdoms, removing Robert from the throne. So from the get-go, like, this book starts and it does not stop. Like, there is constant, like, political drama and, like, what starts as, like, you know, a conspiracy, and, like, hidden messages and stuff, you know, ends out in all-out war. And it's really, really cool. This is a world without magic, but it is epic fantasy. Hey Siri, is Game of Thrones an epic fantasy? So yeah, it's saying it's fantasy, which is weird because it doesn't have any magic in it, which I wanted to mention. There's a lot of battle, and there's a lot of families that you have to know, you know, like Robert's family, and then the Lannisters, and then the Starks, and there's some more thrown in there as well, and kind of the family ties. Like, there's a lot of, like, interesting relationships going on. Some people will say this is a complicated fantasy series. It really isn't. If I was able to understand it, being like not a very comprehensive reader, I think anyone would be able to understand it. I would say the plot is one of the strongest points of the book, which we're gonna get into that right now. I think the plot of the Game of Thrones is easily the best part of this book series. Well, I've only read the first, but like the best part of this book for me. Even just reading like online summaries, because like I had to do that to like remind myself of what the book was for the video. Just the summaries are like so cool to read, you know, like this story spans so well, and just the way it's crafted makes you just want to keep reading and reading and reading. And although it is tedious and slow because of how long and detailed it is, which I'll touch on later, you can't stop reading it because you want to know what happens next. And I could tell that there's a very careful and organized writing mechanism in here. Like, I could tell that, you know, the ending twist was established within like the first 100 pages, you know what I mean? Like, I think the author really knew exactly what was going on even as he started writing, and I think that was super, super cool. That was just me like, oh, this would be really cool if this happened, and it did happen. But the twists beside the ending twist were super, super cool, and they were all super unpredictable. I loved how we were revealed information, and then it would quickly switch to a different perspective, and you'd be like aggravated because you're like, oh my gosh, what is the reaction of like all the characters gonna be? But no, you have to read from all the different perspectives. It's crazy, but also another thing to touch on is those perspectives. So we have, I think, around 10 perspectives that we're bouncing between, and it's a little bit aggravating at times because, like I said, you want to know what the characters are reacting to in different circumstances, but it makes for like an all-around story to be crafted because like the story depends on all these different characters, right? There's not just one character you're following and everything revolves around them. A lot of authors just craft their stories around one character, and everything coincidentally happens to that one character so that you follow every single event. But now you can see, like, in all different parts of the continent, there's things that are going on, and you get to follow all those different things, and you kind of get to build the story for yourself. It's a new way of reading that I've not really experienced a whole lot in my experience, so it was super, super cool to experience it with this book. I guess the only negative about this book series, and I found this on a Goodreads review, I thought it was actually really interesting, and I wanted to bring it up, is that there's a lack of like progression in this novel. There is no like ultimate quest, like, you know, in The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings books, there's an ultimate quest, like they're going and trying to do something, but it doesn't feel like that for the Game of Thrones books, at least for the first book. Like, I don't know what's going to be for the next few books, but there is no like single goal. It's kind of like they're just investigating, and it feels like they're traveling, but I'm not sure why they're traveling to different places. It feels like we just started this series almost, just even reading all these 800 pages. It still feels like the beginning to me. So I guess that would be a good point to make. But like I said, you're not going to get like a beginning, middle, and end so much in this book. It's not really present. It's like you're just kind of going there, and it's just going to keep on happening, and there's going to be stuff that's keep on happening, and you're just going to have to follow through with it. All right, next we're going to go on to the world, and I would say in a world without magic, I felt really engaged and immersed in this world. The world was so expansive, and it felt like an adventure, like traveling through all the different settings in this world. The take on weather and seasons, and how like a season could be a few days or a few decades, it just kind of boggled my mind, and I loved it. And I loved kind of like the motif of like time and weather and stuff like that, and seasons. It just made me so much more intrigued, and I especially love the take on nature, which I'll get into a little bit later. However, like I say, this is a world without magic. The world is missing somewhat of a personal touch. I feel a little bit discluded from the narrative, a little bit excluded. Even in those like dystopian worlds, I still feel like tied to the setting. I feel like there's some cozy moments in it, and I feel like we didn't get so much with that with this book. Like, I didn't feel any strong attachment to the world. I would never want to live there. It gave me the medieval vibes I wanted, but I wanted a bit more personal touch. That's all I'll say about that. But with that said, I think that the writing, which we're moving on to right now, is super immersive. Like I said, the details in this book, that's why this book is so long. It's the details, which I like, because some details in some scenes can be beautifully described. Sometimes it's just not needed. I don't need to know the color of the pommel of the sword, or the color of the badge on the guy's coat, or even what the color of the robe is. Like, I can make that up in my mind. I don't need it. And especially for all of the different people in every different scene. Like, it gets a little bit redundant. The writing itself did feel super poetic at times. We'll go in and go at some of my favorite quotes that I kind of sticky noted. And the somewhat obscure narration kind of reminded me of Nick Carraway from The Great Gatsby, and I especially like the figurative language of this book. That's when I feel most immersed, most engaged. Some of the figurative language around the deaths kind of made some of the deaths more even impactful than they even were. I just loved how he could even enhance what he had already created with figurative language. So let's go into some of the quotes that I highlighted. I didn't start doing this to the last section of the book, so forgive me. The Godswood was an island of peace in the sea of chaos that Winterfell had become. I don't know what I was trying to point out there. I don't know why I put a sticky note there. Laughter is poison to fear. Another really interesting quote that I highlighted. And just even more like figurative language, stuff like this. They crossed at evenfall as a horned moon floated upon the river. The double column wound its way through the gate of the eastern twin like a great steel snake, slithering across the courtyard into the keep and over the bridge to issue forth once more from the second castle on the west bank. Comparing a river to a snake, it's cliche, but it works so well in this circumstance. I thought I had more highlighted and like sticky note in this book, but it's okay. So let's go on to characters, the last section of this video. This is probably like the weakest section. It gets me a little bit of like negative points for this book. I'm sorry, I just didn't fall in love with a lot of the characters. I have it down here that I liked Catelyn, Jon, Arya, Tyrion, and Dany, but some characters I didn't like so much were Eddard, Bran, and Sansa. So I liked about half of the characters. Some of them were, you know, better than the others. But I think one thing that, you know, the author did really well was like character deaths. Like, I didn't even like some of the characters that died, but then he made the characters cool, like, by killing them, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, then I'm like, oh no, I kind of wish they would have lived. The characters are just mediocre, I feel like. I didn't feel like any strong affection towards them. Like, I was not ever going to be like, oh no, I really hope you don't die or anything, or like have any strong affection. Like, I didn't care for them. In other series, I have like my character babies, but I didn't have any character babies in this book. Like, I didn't have any strong characters that I love or related to, especially because of a lot of the characters were older, but there's also some kids and I didn't like them. So yeah, I think it's just a little bit less familiar to me, you know? Alright, so overall, I'm gonna say this book gets like a 4.25 stars from me. Definitely lacking like 0.5 stars just for the characters, and then maybe another 0.25 stars just for the tediousness of it, but I can't knock too many points away from him because, you know, this is an excellent book. Plot, again, it's really cool, and I recommend this to anyone that's wanting to read it, or like if you watch the show and you want to read it, I recommend, although it will take 3 months of your life, maybe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I did a lot of time preparing for it. I've never like prepared for a review before, but I already had my my talking points planned out. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd enjoy, make sure to please leave a like on this video. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe down to my channel, hit the notification bell, and comment down below what you think of Game of Thrones. If you watched the show, let me know. If you've read the books, let me know. If you want to read the books, let me know. I will respond to you in the comments down below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go study for my college test tomorrow. Actually, I have two college tests tomorrow. Well, we'll see about that. Everyone, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.